A very good afternoon on a serious note. My name is Isha Choden, and I'm currently working as a space engineer with the Division of Telecom and Space, which is a very new division, and we just have about 5 or 6 people in this division, specifically working for space technology in Bhutan. Now, before starting my presentation, I would like to have a show of hands. Who in this room knows about space technology? Or have heard about it? Or have the slightest idea about what space technology is? Can I see the hands? Okay, that's like 50% of the audience here. So I'm very happy because 50% knows about space technology, and also very happy because 50% doesn't know about space technology. So it really makes my presentation here something valuable, because I will be adding new information to the 50% who don't have any idea about space technology. Okay. So, just to give you a brief background about how Bhutan started our space technology and the space program that is very young, I would like to direct you to my first slide, which is the portrait of His Majesty the King. So the space program of Bhutan began with the vision of His Majesty the King to raise awareness and generate interest in space science and technology in order to improve the lives of the Bhutanese people. So the end goal of our space program is to make the lives of our Bhutanese people better in terms of socioeconomic prospects. The reason why we started space technology in Bhutan, even for me as an individual, although I may be young and born in this 21st century, I never thought that Bhutan will ever have space technology. The space technology always seemed like something which only the Westerners do, or somewhere, which happens like somewhere really far, and it's something which only we can see in sci-fi movies or something like that. So I never thought that I would be one day a person working in the space program of Bhutan. So all of this is possible because His Majesty the King has a very profound and long-term vision for space in Bhutan. And this, I think, you will know better by the end of my presentation. So please keep that in mind. Now, I became a team member of this satellite project. And this is the first satellite of Bhutan, although it is a 10 centimeter cube in size. Yes, it's very small, and sometimes we joke and say that it is the cute sat. Actually, it's supposed to be a CubeSat because it's in the shape of a cube. But this is, nevertheless, although it may be a very small one, it became the first satellite of Bhutan, and we launched it last year in June using one of the rockets of the SpaceX company by Elon Musk. And we first launched it to the International Space Station, which, if you don't know, it is that space station which is hovering over Earth or orbiting around Earth even now, and there are usually 6 astronauts living in the International Space Station at any given time. So the mass of our satellite was 1.2 kilograms, and some of the missions that we put on our satellite were camera, APRS, digipeater, store and forward. All of this sounds very alien, I know, but basically we were just experimenting because this is our first satellite, and we just wanted to get a feel of what it's like to actually make a satellite and what it's like to actually have a space program. So we launched our satellite last year, and as of now, we still have it in orbit. So every day we can have our satellite passing over Bhutan 3 or 4 times, and we have so we have a ground station in Bhutan as well as in Japan, because this was developed in Japan, and we have a ground station there as well. So this whole project was a part of the overall Birds 2 project, It is a joint multi-nations project which is hosted at the University Kyushu Institute of Technology in Japan. So as part of the second project, Bhutan, Philippines, and Malaysia, we designed, so this is our satellite team. We designed one satellite, but then at the end we made 3 identical satellites from the same design. So that's how we became part of the project. And each of us, Bhutan, Malaysia, and Philippines, we have our own satellite names. For Bhutan, it's Bhutan 1. For Philippines, it's called Maya 1. And for Malaysia, it's called UITM Sat 1. These are a few pictures of us in action. Then for Bhutan 1, we have the ground station, as I mentioned, at DITT office in Thimphu. So we mounted a antenna on the rooftop of our building, and we also have a room where we have some computers which runs the softwares to track our satellite. Now, zooming out from this, now let's look at the global space economy, how big it really is. Although we may have been out of this picture for a really long time, there is a whole booming economy for space out there. So the total global space economy values at $344.5 billion as of 2016. And over the last couple of years, it has been growing at an exponential speed. Earlier, one of the speakers mentioned that we are now in the Industrial Revolution 4.0, and in line with that, even for space, we are at the revolution of space 4.0. So a lot of this the majority part of this economy is occupied by the US government, followed by Russia and so many other big companies. But now in the space 4.0 revolution period, we are seeing an exponential growth of new players in the space industry. For example, a very good example is Bhutan. Nobody would have thought that Bhutan would become one of the new players in the space industry, but because we are in this era of Space 4.0, where a lot of technology innovation is happening and everything is growing at a very fast pace, even a very small country like Bhutan can become a member of the space economy. Now, this whole slide, I would like to hashtag it, "Did you know?" Okay? Because there are going to be a lot of information which some people may know here, but a lot of you may not know as well. So I would like to hashtag it, "Did you know?" And I would like to explain this under the large topic of why space? Why do we want space technology? So the first one is agriculture. Did you know that remote sensing satellites provide key data for monitoring soil, snow cover, drought, crop development, and yield that can inform the farmers for improving their agriculture practices? Okay, second one, global health. Did you know that remote sensing technologies can be applied to study the epidemiology of infectious diseases, monitor disease patterns, understand environmental triggers for spread of diseases, predict risk areas, and define regions that require disease control planning? Computer and telecommunications technologies, including satellite communications, enable sharing of health and medical expertise. That's where telemedicine comes into play. Did you know that remotely sensed data have enhanced scientific understanding of water cycles, air quality, forests, and other aspects of the natural environment? Did you know that Earth observation from space is a cost-effective way of obtaining unbiased and essential data on the physical world? Decision makers can use this information to understand trends, evaluate needs, and create sustainable development policies and programs in the best interests of all populations. So likewise, we have a lot of benefits from space which we may not have known about. And also for disasters, education, human settlement, research and development, transportation, communication, in all these areas, space can play a big role. Space for the Sustainable Development Goals, not only does this benefits expand across all of our lives, but also across all the sustainable development goals, especially for areas like gender equality, clean water, and sanitation. In all these development goals, space has a lot of potential. Now let's zoom back to our very own small country. In Bhutan, where can space be applied? Is space really useful for us? So when I was doing my master's course in Japan, I had the privilege of carrying out a 4-month internship at the United Nations Office for Outer Space Affairs. And my particular interest was in ensuring how to, in understanding how to ensure the sustainability of space activities in Bhutan. Because as I've mentioned, there are a lot of new players in the space industry, but we also see a lot of those new players remaining stagnant, or their space program does not take off after the first project. So that was my biggest concern. And in doing so, I tried to scan the 12th five-year plan of our government. Because I really wanted to know where in Bhutan can we apply space technology? Because if there is the need for space technology, then definitely the space technology can be sustainable in the country. So if you look at the map of Bhutan, I have identified about 21 different themes where space can be applied in Bhutan during my internship. And they span across 14 national key result areas, 64 key performance indicators, and 21 themes. So they can be applied in areas like education, air quality, climate and weather, water management, preserving our heritage, cultural heritage sites, in assessing the potential or efficiency of the hydropower projects. So space technology for Bhutan looks very promising. For example, if you zoom in on the agriculture theme per se, especially for the NKRE 8, water, food, and nutrition security, we have two particular key performance indicators that can be directly affected or enhanced using space science and technology. So this is basically to measure the production of rice and maize crops in order to assess our self-sufficiency. So in this, we can use the remote sensing satellite data to track the growth of these two crops and try to estimate or forecast their yield prior to their season. So if we understand their growth patterns, then we will be clearly able to identify how much maize we are going to produce this year. And according to that, this data, which is very accurate, can be used by the policymakers, the agro-based industries, and they can use it to make informed decisions, like how much rice we should export, or at what rate we should export, and how much we should import, or when is the good time to import, and all these important decisions. So last but not the least, if you have a mobile phone with internet connection, please log on to this website, and I have a short survey for audience participation. Or you can scan this QR code if you're near enough. So if the survey is opening properly, I have just formulated about 3 questions. It's related to space technology for Bhutan, but it's very basic questions, so you should be able to complete it in 1 minute. Did someone finish the survey? How was it? Very easy, right? Very difficult. So basically, I was just asking 3 questions. The first one is, what services, name 3 services around you that uses space technology. So anyone wants to say their survey out loud? Name 3 services around you that you use every day that comes from space, basically. Mobile, GPS, okay, one more. Internet service, okay. Mobile GPS internet service. And the next question was, should we buy satellite data from other providers, or should we as a country develop our own satellite? Buy? Who wants to buy? Who has so much money? No, that's why we have the survey. I just want to get your idea right now. So should we buy? Or should we build? Okay, we should build, yes. And that's good work for me. And the last question is, do you think I can build a satellite? Or Bhutanese people can build satellites? Please give me some more motivation. Anyway, thank you so much for being very responsive and motivating. Now I feel more encouraged to build bigger satellites with more functions in the future. So with this, I come to my last slide, and I would like to leave you with this quote, which says, "There is something about space that touches even people who are not interested in science." So just think about that, and thank you very much.